Hello all. I have been asked to expand a bit on my recent cheeky katana versus longsword short. So we are going to use different types of blade found on medieval swords. As well are going to cut with a modern katana. The Koto has survived about 700 years including the Pax Tokugawa. I'm not going to mess that pristine record in 2025. So it is here just for reference. The D6 represent the center of gravity. To start with, we can check the sharpness of the blade. Despite not having the same blade profile, all the swords are about as sharp. Not shaving sharp but sharp enough. Moving to elbow cut on a relatively soft target. This about the same amount of effort it takes to reliably cut naked flesh or under light clothing. There is not really any noticeable difference, when I do my part that is. Moving to tatami, we can see that the katana when used without biomechanics has less effect on the mat and the part that was cut. However, when used with the same body structure as KDF, the target is disturbed about the same amount as when we use long swords, either with the same body structure or just using an unsupported shoulder-powered cut. Bearing in mind that the more energy the strike has and the stiffer the blade is, the more it will disturb the target. So why, as the late Paul Harrell would have it, is this not enough a difference to make a difference? The type of strike needed to reliably go through medium-heavy clothing or light cloth armor is the same regardless of the sword. For completeness' sake, the only sword able to go through 32 layers of linen was the Type 13A with tip cuts. The last thing left to explore is the thrust. Since all swords can defeat 16 layers, we start with 32 layers of linen and supported thrust. 32 layers is stand-alone cloth armor territory. According to French mid-15th century ordinances, this is the required armor for archers. The modern katana did not manage to go through 32 layers. Historically, katana or tochi were never designed for that type of cloth armor anyway. However, I think this is mostly due to the modern design of the blade. As we can see, the tip is much thicker on the modern blade. I am confident that the Koto would defeat 32 layers, just like the medieval sword did. Which brings us to the blade profile. On the Koto, the shiny part is the edge. That part is not visible on the modern katana. The Koto profile is shinogi zukuri with niku on both bevels, especially on the edge. The modern katana, whilst technically shinogi zukuri without niku, and with a relatively high ridge line, aka shinogi, is kind of functionally closer to hira zukuri, which explains its cutting disturbing the tatami less. On the other hand, the Koto would cut closer to how a medieval sword cuts.